The other crabs move a safe distance away. Only the claw remains to tell the sad tale, and that too is soon consumed. A quick wipe of the jaws and the little predator is ready for its next meal. But it'll have to be a quick snack. The tide is about to turn, and soon his hunting ground will be underwater once more. Just before the waters arrive, the fiddler crabs tuck themselves back into their muddy bunkers. By the time the waters creep over the mudflats, the creatures of the mangroves are all in hiding. A few hours later, and there's no trace that they were ever there. The rising tide reaches the young crocodile as well. In the mouth of the bay, the tide fills the 500-meter wide channel from shore to shore. With his sunbed underwater, the young crocodile moves off in search of another. He ventures across the estuary. With a maximum depth of 3 meters, the waters here are quickly warmed by the sun, a sanctuary for a countless number of fish species, including vast shoals of Natal moonies. With no large predators in sight, this is real crocodile heaven. He follows the sloping contours, through the estuary, across the mouth, and into the shallows of the opposite shore. A wonderful expanse of sun-baked sand and a potentially good sunbed. Back in the estuary, the tide is almost at its highest, and the current subsides. The mullet run comes to a temporary halt. They mill about, waiting for the tide to turn, and rush out of the bay, carrying them into the ocean where they can finally spawn. In the meantime, they take advantage of the estuary's facilities, inviting the moonies to give them a quick makeover. The smaller fish delicately pick off parasites and dead scales from the mullets' bodies. Those in need of a more thorough service enlist the help of a full-time fish cleaner, the cleaner wrasse, and if its client stays still long enough, an internal check of the gills is provided as part of the service. Once groomed, the mullet wait for the strongest flow of the outgoing tide. Only then will the time be absolutely right for the final run to spawn. There are now many thousands of mullet congregated in the estuary. But the action attracts some unwanted attention. The huge shoals are so tightly packed that they provide a veritable feast for predators of all kinds. Even this rather haphazard method of hunting produces great results. Caught in the frenzy of the moment, the fishermen ignore the dangers that might be lurking close to their feet. The fishing trip ends well, this time. With high tide, an ever-increasing number of predators coming from the ocean. Game fish, such as trevallies, move in to prey on the smaller of the mullet. Then, the king of ocean hunters makes his entrance. A Zambezi shark cruises in, bold and confident, large enough to bite the young crocodile in half if they were to meet underwater. But the young crocodile remains on his sunbed. The frenzied mullet are now attacked from all sides. They even become airborne to try to get away. But for some, there is no escape. With great precision, the Zambesis snare a fish at every bite. Shoals of smaller mullet employ the same flying technique to try to get away from the pursuing trevallies. Not wanting to miss out on the action, the young male cautiously slides into the water. He crawls along the bottom, hoping to keep out of the way of any Zambezi shark that might be about. He watches as the other fish chase the mullet this way and that. In contrast, his approach to hunting is a little more laid back. He waits for the fish to come to him. His well-practiced ambush technique. Like all cold-blooded creatures, he doesn't need to eat often. But when the opportunity arises, he gorges to capacity. Over and over, the mullet try to escape the hungry predators. The Zambezi shark targets a shoal of young mullet, powering through the panic-stricken school. A quick turn, and the shark overshadows the crocodile. Aiming for the huge shoals, the shark ignores him. A lucky reprieve for the young male. The Zambezi moves towards the mouth of the estuary, where the mullet are gathering. The tide has turned. Soon it'll be strong enough to carry them out to sea. The attack intensifies as the gulls join from the air. They pick out the fish herded to the surface by the predators which chase them from below. Suddenly the conditions are perfect. The tide is at its peak. An endless stream of mullet race towards the open sea, carried by the strong current. This is what they've been waiting for, the final leg of the mullet run, to spawn. And still the predators are hot on their trail, the young crocodile among them. Pursued from below, the mullet leap out of the water to get away. They have to make it through the waves to reach their spawning grounds and wait for duns. For the predators, a night of feasting lies ahead. Lit by the moon, the Zambesis circle the shoals of mullet. Finally, the moment that makes the whole run worthwhile, spawning. Preoccupied with the task of breeding, the mullet continue to make easy targets for the sharks. The young crocodile joins in the feast, dangerously out in the ocean, beyond the waves and the shallows of the reefs. Thousands of mullet will fall prey to the hungry predators, but by then their job will be done. They will have laid the seeds for the future generation. By morning, it's all over. The mullet run has come to an end. The predators have eaten their fill, and the mullet's fertilized eggs join the plankton soup that floats offshore. For the surviving mullet, it's time to return to the lakes. They race back to the shallows, eager to make the journey upriver, away from the predators of the bay. They use the waves of the incoming tide to speed them along and surf into the estuary. Thousands and thousands of mullet return to the inland waters. After the frenzy of the night, the sharks slow their pace to a comfortable patrol. But then, something at the surface catches their attention. Caught in the excitement of the night, the